Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. At least 12 people have been killed and 27 injured in a suicide blast near Islamabad's district judicial complex. Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi says the attacker detonated explosives near a police vehicle after failing to enter the court premises. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has directed immediate medical assistance for the wounded. Police and rescue teams have cordoned off the area and launched an investigation. A technical delegation from the International Monetary Fund has arrived in Pakistan to review the country's public finance management and budget reforms. The IMF team has demanded a comprehensive audit of supplementary grants issued over the past 10 years, seeking accountability and clarity on how funds were utilised. The IMF has stressed the implementation of a fiscal discipline policy to ensure that public spending remains aligned with Pakistan's economic targets. The delegation has also underlined the need for strict expenditure limits and urged the federal government to take concrete measures to curb unnecessary spending. A Russian drone strike has hit Ukraine's southern Odessa region, injuring one person and damaging energy and transport infrastructure. Local officials say the attack sparked fires at several energy sites and a railway depot. Governor Ole Kipper says critical infrastructure is now running on generators, with emergency centres opened to support residents. Also, Russia's Federal Security Service says it has foiled a plot by Ukrainian and British spies to bribe Russian pilots into stealing a MiG-31 jet armed with a Kinjal hypersonic missile. State media reports the pilots were offered $3 million to fly the jet toward a NATO base in Romania. The US Senate has approved a compromise that will end the longest government shutdown in US history, breaking a weeks-long stalemate that has disrupted food benefits for millions, left hundreds of thousands of federal workers unpaid, and snarled air traffic. The 60-40 vote passed with the support of nearly all of the chamber's Republicans and 8 Democrats, who unsuccessfully sought to tie government funding to health subsidies that are due to expire at the end of the year. While the agreement sets up a December vote on those subsidies, which benefit 24 million Americans, it does not guarantee they will continue. US President Donald Trump has vowed to do everything he can to make Syria successful, after landmark talks with Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa, a former al-Qaeda commander who until recently was sanctioned by Washington as a foreign terrorist. Sharaa's visit capped a stunning year for the rebel-turned-ruler, who toppled longtime autocratic leader Bashar al-Assad and has since travelled the world, trying to depict himself as a moderate leader who wants to unify his war-ravaged nation and end its decades of international isolation. Indian police are probing a deadly car blast in the capital, Delhi, under a law used to fight terrorism, as forensic experts seek evidence to establish the cause of the first such blast in the city in more than a decade. The law is India's main anti-terrorism law. It is used to investigate and prosecute acts related to terrorism and activities that threaten the sovereignty and integrity of the country. The explosion near the historic Red Fort on Monday evening killed at least 8 people and injured 20. Several states and key facilities across the country were placed on high alert. President Donald Trump has ordered air traffic controllers to return to work immediately as US flight cancellations soar. The demand comes during the 41-day government shutdown that has left thousands of controllers unpaid and airports short-staffed. Airlines cancelled over 1,700 flights on Monday, with disruptions expected to worsen as the FAA mandates further flight cuts this week. A Paris court has granted former French President Nicolas Sarkozy early release from prison, less than 3 weeks after he began a 5-year sentence over alleged campaign funding from Libya. Sarkozy was freed pending appeal, under judicial supervision. He has denied any wrongdoing and called the case politically motivated. BBC News says it has received a legal threat from US President Donald Trump over an edited documentary aired before the election. The Panorama episode cut and rearranged parts of a Trump speech, giving what the BBC now admits was a misleading impression. Earlier, BBC's Director General and Head of News resigned after mounting criticism of bias and editorial failings at the broadcaster, and prompted the broadcaster's chair, Samaa, to issue an apology. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.